What's up, everybody? Justin here, back. It's been a long time with a new year in wrestling reloaded. I'm back to do a year in wrestling reloaded. First, I'm going to talk about the champions, the world champions in wrestling in the AWA, WWF, NWA, New Japan. Who were the champions going into This is the Year in Wrestling Reloaded 1989 Part 1. So here we go. The champion, the IWGP champion in 1989, going into 89, was Big Van Vader. It was Big Van Vader was the champion going into 1989 in New Japan. He would lose a title on April 24th, 1989. Vader would lose the IWGP Championship to, can't even pronounce the guy's name, Hashimoto, something like that. Anyways, Vader lost the title April 24th, 89. Who is a champion going into 89 in the WWF? That's easy. I got that memorized. The champion in 1989 was Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. I could do a better Macho Man impression, but I don't feel like it. I don't feel like making my throat sore. Maybe I could try. Ooh, yeah, dig it! That's all I got. Champion in the NWA, WCW, going into 89 was Nature Boy Ric Flair. The champion in the AWA, going into 89, I have to look it up because I really don't remember. Probably was Larry Zbyszko. All Japan Pro Wrestling, their Triple Crown champion going into 89 was Triple Crown title just started in All Japan in 89, and Jumbo, I can't pronounce the guy's name, Jumbo someone. I'm sure the guy was good. I'm sure he's really good, but I can't pronounce the guy's name. He defeated Stan Hansen to win the All Japan Triple Crown on April 18th, 1989. Let's find out who the AWA champion was. Give me a minute to find it, because I seriously don't know who the champion was in AWA going into 89. My guess would be Larry Zbyszko. Maybe I'm dead wrong. I don't know. Where the hell are the AWA titles? Can't find them in here. Maybe I'll check my other book. My other wrestling almanac. So I don't see AWA anywhere. Come on. Here's NWA. TNA with titles. My nose is running. Where is it? No AWA titles? Come on. Stupid book. They got like every other company. Pro Wrestling Noah. I'll have to check my other books. Hopefully they have AWA. I apologize for, I'm going to pause it for a minute. So I'm back, and I found who the AWA World Champion was going into 89. It was Larry Zbyszko became the champion on February 10th, or February 7th, 89. The title was probably vacated because before Larry Zbyszko, the champion was Jerry Lawler. So Larry Zbyszko was the champion going into 89, or the title was vacated till February. So there were your champions. Now, before I start with reviewing some Saturday night's main events, I'm not going to review Clash of Champions because I already did that in my first videos, Year in Wrestling videos. So where was I going to go here? I'm lost. I'll talk a little bit about I did in the last Year in Wrestling Reloaded. I talked about Superclash 3, the AWA's attempt to go on pay-per-view and try to compete. It was a failure. It was a giant fail. AWA just, nothing was good at Superclash 3. It was really boring, a boring pay-per-view. They just took a big old nasty old smelly old shit in the middle of the ring and let all the fans basically smell it, and they drove even more fans away. Because I'm sorry, in AWA Superclash happened on December 13th, 88. And they didn't have that many fans left at all. And the fans they did have left, well, they drove them away. Superclash was a fucking mess. It was a train wreck. It was a god-awful, one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen. Definitely worse than any WWF pay-per-view or WWE. Also, Superclash 3 might have been worse than Heroes of Wrestling. That mess of a pay-per-view in 1999. Or whenever that happened. I think in 99. I think, Heroes of Wrestling happened on October 10th, 99. Anyway, Superclash 3 was a mess. It was one of the worst. I don't know what everybody out there, I don't know what your worst pay-per-view of all time is, but Superclash is one of mine. My other worst pay-per-views is WWE's ECW December to Dismember. God, I hate that pay-per-view. That was embarrassing. It's an original fan of ECW, the original ECW. December to Dismember was a fucking train wreck mess. Vince McMahon took a big old shit and piss and slapped all the original ECW fans in the face because it was a god-awful pay-per-view. Wasn't Big... I don't even want to talk about it. I believe Big Show was the champion at the time. And I don't even remember if Big Show retained in the Elimination Extreme. Yeah, right. Elimination Chamber. Maybe Lashley won. I think Big Show might have retained. I don't really care. I should actually look it up. But, where was I? Superclash 3 was a mess. I'm not going to talk about it again. I'm going to just remind everybody this is the Year in Wrestling 1989 Reloaded. Part 1. You want to hear me talk about Superclash 2? Watch Year in Wrestling Reloaded 1988 Part 2. So I'm going to look up, why not? I don't really care to know. I don't really care who retained the fake ECW title at December to Dismember. I don't really care, so I'm not going to look it up. I don't want to remind myself, because I'll just get pissed again. Yeah, I watched WWE's ECW. Yes, I ordered that pay-per-view December to Dismember. I was hoping for a little bit of the original ECW, and they could have mixed. They tried to, I guess, but they didn't do a good job. Vince did not do a good job. Didn't let Dreamer run it or Paul Heyman. Vince just had to get involved and be probably the main guy in control that approved everything that went on the show. WWE's ECW as a third brand could have been great if it would have been treated like NXT is now, but Vince was too stupid at the time. He wouldn't have done that. And he went to the vision to do what Triple H has done. Vince was great in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s. Vince was good at creative, but now not so much. Where was I? I'm all over the place. This is Year in Wrestling Reloaded 1989. So, where was I? Just want to go back in this wrestling almanac of mine. I want to go back and show you something. This book goes back to a lot of years in wrestling, and it goes all the way back to 1873. That's crazy. I can't believe wrestling was even around then. But I guess wrestling has probably been around since the dinosaurs were here and the cavemen were here. Cavemen were probably wrestling each other, fighting over women. Anyways, 1873. I just thought this was interesting. Maybe you'll find it interesting. I want to read it. 1873, wrestling's first masked wrestler enters the ring in Paris. He is known as the Masked Wrestler. That was his name. Let's go to, why not? Let's go to 1880. This is real. These years. Crazy. 1880, some guys I never heard of, but they were having a match at the site that would later become Madison Square Garden, the best of three falls match. And whoever won would become the Greco-Roman champion. The bout, the match, drew more than 3,000 fans. That's pretty impressive. So let's go to 1899. Frank Gotch, I heard of him. Never seen him wrestle. Obviously, I wasn't even born. Frank Gotch makes his pro wrestling debut in Iowa, defeating somebody in, I think, Iowa. 1906, Frank Gotch defeats Tom Jenkins to regain the American Heavyweight Championship. And Frank Gotch defeated him in 26 minutes. I guess it's 2 out of 3 falls because Frank Gotch defeated him to take the last 2 falls at 14 minutes and 17 minutes. So now I'm going to get to 1989. This is a year in wrestling reloaded. Thank you for sticking with me if you are still watching. I'm going to review Saturday night's main events from 1989. And I'll talk a little bit about NWA and Clash of Champions and what the NWA put on. In the beginning of 1989, some of the best, 3 of the very best matches I've ever seen. With Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat had an epic series of matches. It was so goddamn good. So good. I apologize if I sound weird. Can't breathe through my nose. So I apologize. So, again, this Saturday night's main event was taped in February of 89, but it aired on March 11th, 89. It was Saturday night's main event 20. Or the 20th Saturday night's main event. A lot of these matches were really short, except for one of them. One of them is really good, but that could have been longer too. So I'm going to just read the results. I've seen all the Saturday night's main events. I've seen them all on the network. I've watched them all. I think I watched them 2 or 3 years ago. Or 2 summers ago, I think. I don't remember. Maybe 2 or 3 summers ago. So I don't remember a lot of these matches except for really one of them. One of them was really good. So the first match, Brutus Beefcake, I was never a fan of him. He sucked, and the only way he got in wrestling and got any fame was because he rolled the back of Hulk Hogan and rode his coattails, in my opinion. That's the only way the guy got a job in WWF and WCW. Beefcake, I don't know if he's friends with Hogan still. I know they weren't friends for a while. But Beefcake, that guy owes his career and all the money he's made to Hulk Hogan. That guy should be on his knees blowing Hogan, in my opinion. But I don't think Beefcake's a homosexual, so he wouldn't do that. Just saying, Beefcake should be on his fucking knees kissing Hogan's ass every goddamn day of his rest of his life. Brutus Beefcake defeated Rick Rude. That's disgraceful. In a disqualification. Brutus Beefcake sucked. He absolutely sucked, in my opinion. I never liked him. Never was a fan of him as a 5-year-old kid. I was 5 years old in 1989. When 1989 started, I was 5 years old. Never was a fan of him. Rick Rude, 1,000 times better as a kid. In 1989, I was not a fan of Rick Rude because he's a heel. I really didn't like any heels when I was little, when I was 5. I liked all baby faces, basically. The only heel I liked was Ric Flair. Really, that's it. As a kid. Now, as an adult, I mostly prefer heels a lot more and cheering for them. Except for a few guys. Anyways, Beefcake wins by disqualification. The match was only 5 minutes, 45 seconds. The second match was Hulk Hogan with Miss Elizabeth as his manager because for the build-up to WrestleMania 5, nobody knew was Elizabeth going to be with Macho Man or Hogan. She came out during the match at WrestleMania 5 and she didn't really pick a side. Not really, but I guess she was with Hogan at the end. I don't remember. Hulk Hogan defeated Bad News Brown. Well, it was 9 minutes, so not that short. Defeated Bad News Brown, and Bad News Brown, in my opinion, the guy was, to me, he's boring and not a good worker. I know he's in Stampede Wrestling, I believe, before then. I don't care. I was not a fan of Bad News Brown. The guy's maybe a good guy. Nice guy in real life. I don't know. I don't care. I wasn't a fan of him. I mean, I don't wish he gets sick or ill. I don't wish that. I just was never a fan. So up next, Ted DiBiase defeated the Blue Blazer, Owen Hart. If you didn't know, you gotta be living under a rock or not a big wrestling fan. The Blue Blazer was always Owen Hart in the WWF in late 88 and 89. Ted DiBiase defeated him in 3 minutes, 57 seconds, so that was like a burial. The Blue Blazer jobbed out really quick. Before the main event, I guess, the main event was pathetic because it was a final match, but this was really good. This was 9 minutes, 19 seconds. The Brain Busters, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard with Bobby Heenan. They jumped ship in 88. They went to WWF. 2 of the 4 horsemen went and jumped to the WWF. That was huge. That was huge. That is really big, in my opinion. Also, Ronnie Garvin jumped in 89, but in my opinion, they did not treat him right at all. And I'm a fan of Ronnie Garvin. That guy, hands of stone. I thought he's a great worker. I guess they offered Ronnie Garvin a lot of money to jump. Same with Arnie and Tully were not happy, so they probably made a lot of money too. Arn and Tully, the Brain Busters, were great because they had Bobby Heenan as their manager. And he really added to the team. So the Brain Busters went up against the Rockers. And that is a really good match. I'm sure it was. I don't really remember it, but I think it's pretty damn good. The Rockers and the Brain Busters, I do remember this. They were fighting on the outside of the ring, and it was a double countout. The Rockers could go. Sean and Marty, they were in their prime. They were young. They went 100 miles per hour in the ring against anybody. And the Brain Busters were damn good as a team. They were also in their prime. And Arn and Tully were veterans working with Sean and Marty, which they weren't veterans yet, but they were in the business already like 3, 4, 5 years. I think Sean debuted in 84 or 85 in Mid-South. Sean and Marty, I don't believe, got together till 86. In the AWA, they were the Midnight Rockers. Anyways, double countout. Now the final match, the Red Rooster defeated the Brooklyn Brawl. I get it that Bobby Heenan, on an episode of Primetime Wrestling in 89, I guess to build up to this match on Saturday night's main event, Bobby Heenan, Terry Taylor, the Red Rooster, was a guest on Primetime Wrestling. Bobby Heenan was on this set with Gorilla. He shook Terry Taylor's hand like, I guess, or I don't know, he was going to join him or something, or he set him up, basically. Bobby Heenan set up Terry Taylor on Primetime, was holding his hand, wouldn't let it go, and the Brooklyn Brawler attacked Terry Taylor from behind, beat the crap out of him, slammed him on top of like metal doors, and even Gorilla Monsoon. I believe this happened in 89. Before their match on Saturday night's main event on Primetime Wrestling, even Gorilla Monsoon got involved in the story. Gorilla Monsoon got attacked, I think, by Bobby Heenan. Hit him from behind with a stool. Or maybe Brooklyn Brawler attacked Gorilla Monsoon. I don't remember. But that is pretty shocking to see Gorilla Monsoon get attacked on primetime. So the next Saturday night's main event was on May 27th, 1989. This is the final Saturday night's main event I'll talk about in this part 1 of Year in Wrestling 1989 Reloaded. Up first, we had King, the King, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He became King Duggan. He defeated King Haku. I'm not going to talk about the pay-per-view and review them for 89 because I already did that. I reviewed them all in my Year in Wrestling series. Check out the Year in Wrestling playlist. Also check out Year in Wrestling Reloaded in my playlist. A Royal Rumble, I will say, in 1989, the Royal Rumble became a 30-man over-the-top rope Rumble instead of 20-man. So that is pretty cool. First ever winner of the 30-man Royal Rumble was Big John Studd. I believe as his final WWF match on pay-per-view, Big John Studd would not have another one. I believe after WrestleMania 5, Big John Studd was sick or got sick, had to retire or something like that. Maybe he's too injured. I don't know. Royal Rumble 89 was a very good pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. WrestleMania 5 was good. Not the best WrestleMania, but I think 4 was better, and 3 was better, and WrestleMania 2 might have even been better than 5. 5 didn't have much on it. That was a highlight to me that I was excited about. I was excited about Hogan, Macho Man, and seeing Demolition and Warrior and Rick Rude. That's all I cared about as a kid. 3 matches. Well, Demolition's match was kind of stupid. It was a handicap match against Mr. Fuji and Powers of Pain. But anyways, WrestleMania 5, not the worst WrestleMania. I wouldn't say that. It's probably not even the top 10 or top 15 worst. Or whatever, top 5 worst. I don't think I could pick 10 WrestleManias that were that really bad. I don't think I could pick 10. I could pick 5 if I wanted to. So back to my review of Saturday night's main event from May 27th, 89. King Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeated Rick Rude. It was a singles match for the Intercontinental title. Rick Rude was a new reigning Intercontinental champion. In the match, King Duggan won by countout. So he did not win the title. Next match was Macho Man Randy Savage with Sensational Sherry. She was his new manager, no more Elizabeth. I believe Elizabeth in 89 wanted to be off the road and probably needed a break and wanted a vacation. And Randy probably wanted her off the road. I don't know. I do know that I heard interviews with Sherry before she passed. Shoot interviews about her career. And Sherry said her and Macho Man got along really well. Miss Elizabeth did not have any heat towards Sherry managing him. There was absolutely no heat. All 3 of them got along really good. And Sherry said she had a blast being his manager. So that's cool to hear. Macho Man defeated Jim the Anvil Neidhart in a 5-minute, 54-second match. That's very sad to think about because Macho Man's gone, Jim the Anvil Neidhart is gone, and Sherry's gone. I just thought of that. All 3 of them are gone. Damn, that's sad. Rick Rude's also gone, and Bobby Heenan. They were in the first match. Up next, we had a steel cage match for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. Steel cage match, I remember this. It felt longer. It was only 10 minutes. It did feel longer. Hulk Hogan defeated the Big Boss Man. They had a good cage match, but they had a cage match also at Madison Square Garden in '89 that was a lot better, in my opinion. It was on a Coliseum home video release. I think it was Hulkamania 4 videotape that I still own. And that was a really good cage match from Madison Square Garden. Hulk Hogan against Big Boss Man. Big Boss Man bled. Got bladed, got busted open by this old school big blue cage. Steel bars. I'm glad they got rid of that cage because that cage was stiff. And absolutely just had no give in it at all. It looked cool, but it had no give. It was seriously steel bars. Like prison steel square bars. So, again, the big bull cage was cool, but I'm glad they got rid of it. By '99, they got rid of it. But they had to bring it back for the Kennel from Hell. God, that was stupid. What a dumb match. So up next, we had the Brainbusters defeat Demolition for the tag team titles. Who were the champions? Demolition were the champions, but the Brainbusters defeated them by disqualification. So no new champions were crowned. The final match, what a joke. The final match was Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Fuck him, because that guy was a murderer. He did murder his girlfriend. I believe he did it in 1983. No wonder why we didn't see him in WWF anymore from 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. The guy's gone because he did something very, very evil. And Jimmy Snuka, you're probably down there now. You're probably getting punished. I hope you are. Jimmy Superfly Snuka defeated Boris Zukov in a minute. Pathetic. Stupid. I didn't care for Jimmy Snuka as a kid or an adult. I was never a fan of his. The guy's a good athlete, but I was not a fan of his. The guy had a good look. The guy's jacked. The guy seemed legitimately nuts, crazy in the head. I mean, the guy was on so many roids and just acted like an idiot, like he wasn't human. Jimmy Snuka might have acted more stupid than Ultimate Warrior in the 80s and early 90s. Watch Royal Rumble 90. It's just weird. Jimmy Snuka's promo makes no sense. The guy goes, whoo, whoo. What the hell does that mean? I don't know what the hell he was trying to say in his promos. The guy just looked jacked, like he's roided up. Like every vein in his body, he probably shot up with roids. Anyways, Jimmy Snuka sucked, in my opinion. He was a good athlete. He was super over, but I was not a fan of his. So now I'm going to talk about the greatest matches of the entire year in 1989 were 3 of them. They were all in the NWA. They were all with Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat. The first one was a classic. At Chi-Town Rumble 89 pay-per-view, Ricky Steamboat finally won the world title. That was awesome. That was a great moment. Ric Flair put him over clean. That was awesome. Then they had a rematch. Clash of the Champions. I want to say 6. Clash of the Champions 6, I believe. Let me just check. 6 or 7. I know it was April 89. Had to be April 1989. I know it's from the Superdome. It's called Clash of Champions 6. Rage, or 7. Clash of Champions 7. April 2nd, 1989 from the Superdome in New Orleans, where Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, still to this day, one of my all-time favorite matches to watch. It's a pretty damn long match, 55 minutes, 49 seconds, but it's a classic. It's worth sitting down for 55 minutes. It's worth it. I've watched it at least probably 20 times, maybe more. Never get tired of watching Flair and Steamboat beat the hell out of each other, chop each other to death. Just put on a wrestling classic. If there were this is awesome chants back in '89, the fans would have been saying this is awesome. They would have been going nuts. The fans were pretty hype. One of the fans, if you watch Clash of Champions 7 back, during Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, there's a young woman, I believe, sitting in like the second or third row, maybe the first row. I think she's there with her boyfriend or something. All she was doing was like staring. I don't know what. She wasn't paying attention. That was pretty funny to watch. She's like, I don't know, staring down at something, looking bored as hell. That was pretty funny. So Ricky Steamboat in the rematch defeated Ric Flair in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. It was a classic. Ricky Steamboat won 2 falls to 1. Now I'm going to talk about their final match in 1989 at Wrestle War 89. It was a classic. It was really good. Really good. And Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, made history when he won the world title for the 6th time in his career. 6-time world champion. It was a classic, but my favorite of their 3 matches in '89, all of them were great. My favorite would have to be Clash of Champions 7. 2 out of 3 falls. It was so good. It was such a classic matchup. Such a great rivalry. It was a great build-up at the Clash of Champions before. Clash of Champions 5. On February 15th, 89, St. Valentine's Massacre. Ricky Steamboat did have a match, but Ric Flair cut a promo in the ring, and Ricky Steamboat attacked him and tore his clothes off and tore his suit off. It was epic. And Flair is in his underwear. That is pretty funny. And Flair pissed off Steamboat on the mic. He's like, you don't want one of my women. He's like, you're not living the high life. Take one of my women. And Ricky Steamboat looked pretty angry about that, because Ricky Steamboat was a family man. So again, for newer fans, go back, learn your wrestling history, and watch on the network Clash of Champions. Not 7, it's Clash of Champions 6. If I said 7, I'm wrong. It was 6. Clash of Champions 6, April 2nd, 89. Watch this one match. Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, 2 out of 3 falls. One of the best matches I've ever seen. And one of my favorite matches still that I've ever seen. It was great. This ends my year in wrestling reloaded 1989 part 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry I went long, but it's my show. I'll go as long as I want. Bye for now, everybody. Have a great weekend.